Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bill and Ray Show. I'm out in the torch shop, gonna make another marble. Got a couple of ideas, gonna try out, make some dimensional effects out of just simple color lines. Let's see what we can make happen here. Find my glasses. So we're gonna start off shaping up our main clear rod to construct from. And that fresh cut in and get some shrapnel flying off. Back when I started doing soft glass, there's always like have your rod pointed out away from you, because it usually, if it was going to throw some shards, it's going to go out in kind of an angle off of the front tip of the rod. So how's everybody doing? Hope you're doing well. We got a beautiful fall day today. Woke up to some rain that was unexpected, but that's what I love to see. Rain at night, sunshine during the day. And tonight, hopefully it's clear out, and I'll get the telescope set up and maybe capture an image to put at the end of this video from tonight. We'll see how that all goes. So first we're just kind of falling back and building up a good sized gather. Yeah, last week's marble turned out pretty cool. This, at least in design, is this marble's not going to be anything too radical. I'm thinking of doing kind of a color blend build up, and then I'm going to do some twisting of that. See if we can get a little bit of a color gradient with some built up dimension to it. So I've been harvesting my hops last few days. One variety produced really well last few years. It produced like crazy again this year, so I won't even get all of that harvested. Is more than I can do anything with. Okay, let this kind of settle down, and then we're going to shape our cone shape on the end here. Okay, I'm going to try and do kind of some three stripes and then some other effects, but I need to get kind of this triangular pattern sorted out. So we'll do some little dots. I'll try and eyeball this. I don't know if this will, I don't think that'll bounce off. So we try and sort of look at that from the three different angles and see if that makes sense, more or less. Okay, ignore that one. So then, before we get too far, we're going to lay down some silver or gold fume, because I'm going to be doing this kind of in red and orange. So we're going to start pretty significant gold fume on there. And I've got dragon's blood. It's going to be my first color. Okay, and then in this in-between space, I'm going to do a few dots. Okay, then we're going to start heating this in for our first layer. kind of get a little bit of a heat base going. Then I'm going to try something with all these dots. I've got a tungsten electrode rod that just has a rounded tip on it. Okay, that didn't have a whole lot of heat base there, so I don't think those didn't really push in very much, but so I'm going to try and melt these in, melt this off without, I don't really want to be trapping air in every one of those little pockets. I may have gotten some little bubbles trapped in there, but try and get a little dimension going on. And then that dragon's blood is kind of settled down, that we're going to add some, it's going to be kind of deceptive because it goes transparent when it's hot. And we're going to come back over it. Some red to start with. Okay, I'll melt that down. The idea here is adding successive lines of color or fume or something or other into the same spot and let that build up. And at the end of the day, that hopefully is showing some dimensional intrusion into the inside of the marble. So we do these heats, we're going to be losing our cone shape. But initially that's going to be okay. But I think I'll throw a little bit of silver at this. And I'm going to come over those dots with another little dab of clear. So this will build up some dimension to these little spots. Putting dots of fume on top of dots of fume sometimes really hard to see where the previous work went, but in this case I could see it pretty easily. So while there's still silver fume on there, I'm gonna, doesn't really matter, but I'm gonna go ahead and add this orange on top of that red. Tie these guys together. Alright, gentle melt. Yeah, the key here is to just kind of keep some fairly rapid rotation and kind of gently get this to heat in and melt together. As it gets hotter, you can bring it in a little closer to the torch and a little more intense heat. Okay, now I'm going to touch this a little bit, encourage our cone shaping. But the next step, we're going to keep going with more build up on those lines. But now instead of color, we're going to just add clear. You have to kind of use your imagination as to what's happening on the inside, if you will. Okay, rinse and repeat. It started out as 3 skinny lines of color. You can see it's starting to not only go in, but it's spreading out as well. Okay, I think that's all we need to build up in the lines. So the next phase is kind of one of the sort of key parts to this look that I'm after. I want a fair amount of heat into this end. Now I'm going to shape this and push in these lines a little. When I go to shape this cone, I'm going to drag it. Okay, so you can start seeing what's happening there. And now perhaps you kind of get the idea if I had kept the lines, just 3 lines, kept it open, because by the time you kind of smear this together, they've kind of spread out and now they're covering a good bit of the interior. And kind of build up this front lens and get on center with a good mass behind it. Okay, that's definitely got some chaos going on. We've got to define our shape a little more. Need to get that base heat to settle out. And this is a good idea to take this opportunity to sharpen up that termination. Okay, left a big old angel hair sticking out here. Alright, next thing is going to be some Frit. Yeah, we got some blue spruce Frit. Get this a little too close to the flame. These are just plastic jars. That's a little deformed. So sad. Well, obviously this Frit's not really going to show it behind all that red and orange buildup. And this, once again, is one of these applications where just trying to get a little texture in the background with some color. That's about it. Okay, we're making progress. Okay, got a nice shape on there. Next phase is to cover that backside with black. Alright, now, for those that haven't really seen me do it this way, I do this kind of open coil and then come back and fill in between. Whatever works for you. If you like to put on a backing color a different way, when the video is coming up, I should try a different kind of dramatic effect you can get by spiraling on a thick run of color. Combine that with some fuming or something and get some pretty cool effect. Coming back and just trying to hit some spots if they look like they're not covered all the way. Okay, burn this in a little bit and then hit this with a marver and squish it in, using a good deal of force. Okay, now hit that with chunky silver. Alright, we're marching through our steps here. Now we're going to do this filling in the backing. So we just got some excellent fall colors. We've got an inexpensive drone that I got about a year ago. And I was out taking some video of our vacation rental next door, right next door to the torch shop. We have a wonderful little rental space. Trying to get some new imagery that Ray's putting together and getting it up online. We should have a little video of our rental property up on the Bill and Ray show here pretty soon. Doing this heating and then rolling it over so you get some kind of super fluid clear, if you will, and then dropping it down. But in that process of dropping it down, it's pushing air out. At least that's the idea. Little air bubbles in this layer is really not important. You can treat this kind of more of an exercise, doing this if it were important. So we get this first go around, and then we'll push in the edges. I can find my cup down here. Got my marble cup. Some cold coffee. It's not bad though. Alright. Oxygen cranked on this torch. And the last step. So this tip end is kind of important to keep the clear glass off of that tip, and as it heats up, I'm going to push that away from the tip. So you're going to kind of keep that one little spot sticking out the end. You can see it there glowing. And then this front area, we don't need any thickness up here, so we're going to push this back. Now we just have this area in between. Now when you're building up clear on top of clear, it's a lot easier and less likely to cause any issues. Clear and clear will flow together pretty nicely. Funny, in these videos, it seems like when I get down to the short end of the stick, I don't know, somehow in the camera view, it looks like I got plenty of stick to hang on to, but as it gets closer and closer to the flame, at some point it's like, okay, that's a little short. Okay, I'm going to come back around and keep adding until it looks like it's built up to the right amount of material. Okay, melt this in. I think we're there. And we'll kind of let this fall down onto the far end. I'm going to bring this kind of a bit more level and let that glass merge together at the end. Working it around at different angles. I'm going to hopefully get to where you see that cone in the interior with clear glass surrounding it. I'm not sure if that shows up real well on camera, but yeah, there you can see. And then we can bring it back the other direction. So kind of elongate it out. Okay, now settle down time. Break time. Okay, on the back side we have got the Aqua Azul, maybe, and deep blue, and double amber purple. So this is a different brand of the opaque aqua. Basically the exact same glass. Okay, then deep blue. Okay, then we're going to bump this flame up with some more oxygen for this double amber. Okay. Let's get everybody melted together. In the process, hopefully burn the haze off that amber purple. We want that to be as transparent looking as we can. Okay, that's pretty good. Kind of rounded it up more too, which is nice. Really throwing some heat at that. It's what glass likes to do, is to kind of ball up. Okay. Once again, another little settle down time before we rake these colors together. You don't want your marble flopping around while you're trying to rake it. But you also don't want to lose all your heat base. You just don't want it actively drooping when you stop motion. Okay, heat up my pick. Heat up a piece of glass. Heat it up more than you think you should. Okay, come in for the last loop. And wander over a little bit so it's not just a straight line pull. Oh, don't really want to lift off there. Trying to kind of keep the contact, keep the tip just submerged in the hot glass just a little bit. So it cuts down through the color layers, but really no more. Rear focal point, and pull that out a little bit and turn it off. Let this kind of heal back on itself. I also like to kind of push this end I think that helps keep that depth. There's so many little subtle geometries, what the exterior is doing and the interior, how it affects the interior as it's melting. This glass is melting, it's pulling. Pulling or drooping or bending or doing something. It's glass when it's hot, it's starting to move, and it moves the surrounding glass. And that transition between the fluid glass and the glass that's more firm. So one of those things of observation and trying to work with the glass. Let the glass do what it wants to do, what it does best. And don't force it. Don't horse around with it unless it's a step that really needs that. So we got lines on and rake them around and melting them all back into each other. Make sure everybody is fully healed up. And then we can hit it with our marble mold. Let it kind of skin over it just a touch, and we can start chilling down that backside. Okay, more stuff to get out of the way. Okay. Go for a punty. And this attachment is just a hot seal. And we're going to blast this. This region here has got some leftover fume and glass that we're interested in getting rid of eventually, but first step is to work it out to the surface. So the glass that's in the interior of any of these manufactured rods is superior glass to what's on the skin of the rod. Part of this process is trying to push good glass into the interior and leave some glass on the outer edge, outer skin to tear off. Now this is not a perfect process. It still ends up having some optical lines, which I don't like. But it is part of the process. You wind up with these kind of tree ring lines in the lens and building up so much clear glass. So at this point we want to build up an excess of clear. Kind of anxious at this stage to detach it from the large clear rod that I've been working off of and focus more on just a marble. Okay, that's the silly shape we want. So that we have some material to cut loose. Oh, gosh. We're getting there. So two things happening here, tearing off glass that I don't like and defining that edge. This way that Frit and so on that's kind of spilled up over where it needed to go, just to lose all of that kind of material that's not really helpful at the lens side of things. And we'll just continue to skin off some more. Move that out of the way. Try and find any other random bright spots of contamination that are on the surface. Just some slow rotation at this point to really get that heat to soak into that clear. And we'll spin it. Get circumference to kind of blow out. Getting that heat to go into the core. At this point we have to consider we don't have too much glass on the front here. Kind of hard to tell with the geometry, but I'll take off just a little bit. That seemed kind of silly, I don't know. Now, I wish we could just magically get the entire thing hot. For one, I still have a handle I have to hang on to. But especially when you have, well, any punty attachment, you want your piece to be good and hot. If it gets too cold, that punty is going to break loose. Do a little positioning, angling. And throw that heat and get this to kind of decide to bulk up and round out on its own, but then it gets just like out of control, so we're going to hit it into the marble mold. Should I just set it better for it? Sorry about that, out of control. Okay. A little bit more like a pill shape. Okay, then we're going to switch sides. And again, nothing fancy about that attachment. It's just going to get ripped out of there. Instead of any crazy whacking to release the Gauge is punchy. Just burn it out. A lot of people like to make some trick thing to break off the old punchy, but I don't like marbles on the loose. So I don't try and get fancy with that. Okay, the color side doesn't move as easily as the clear. A little bit more stubborn. Again, trying to use some angle, get it, coax it to fall back on itself. Okay, kind of rolled that flat in your marble mold, left a little bump on the end. Trying to get this to heat and change shape just through heat and rotation and gravity as much as possible. And the fast spinning operation can help pull some of that glass in tighter. Okay, this time we're going to go in the mold and go all the way out to the edge. And then we can use a little bit of force. At this point I can see that front lens. I was pushing in a little bit, so it kind of squished it. Well, a little stubborn here. We're getting just about done. Little by little. Well, if anybody's watching this section of the video, really appreciate everybody that's taking their time out of their day to check out some of this work. Hopefully you find it useful or entertaining. we try not to take all this stuff too seriously. This is just a little glimpse into our activities, our life as self-representing artists, and trying to keep it all rolling. Well, we're kind of homebodies. I am anyway. I don't do a lot of events or anything. I used to. Kind of burned out on doing events, I guess. Back in the 90s, late 90s, juried arts and crafts fairs were a pretty good place to be. Pretty good deal. Travel expenses weren't too terrible. Booth fees weren't that bad. Getting into the fair, trying to get jury in, was always a challenge, but managed to get into quite a few pretty good sized fairs in the Pacific Northwest region. But by the time you look at all the expenses, it's not really a major moneymaker. Because not all shows go that well. Outdoor events in particular, the weather can be a pretty major factor in how things turn out. And unfortunately, our weather just gets more and more crazy and unpredictable, so even just doing a Saturday market is no longer something I'm really interested in doing. It's a lot of literal exposure for minimal gain. Well, we got a few dimensional elements going on in there. I'm not sure what the color is going to look like. Yeah, tickly cough. That last attachment of the puntee is a little closer to a cold seal, because I do want to break that one loose. Not sure I did a very good job on that though. It's probably going to leave a chunk. So this step, we're trying to remove any traces of that puntee attachment. I have a little different glass characteristics than the lens that we've got worked so hard to get. I have before been too quick to finish the marble and left that very tip puntee point as kind of a visible mark. So I'm trying to get that melted in. Okay, let's wait a moment before we hit it in the marble mold. Come in from the back side and spin up to the front. Kind of taking some of the heat away from there because I had it in the fire for a while. And now we're trying to just do a plain polish. Okay, I think we accomplished all the tricks I hope to accomplish in this one. The backing, I think, is going to turn out real nice. Pause for a moment here and let things cool down. I'm not sure it produced any kind of color gradient, but it'll be cool. Yeah, see, that's what I thought it was going to do. So, when you leave a big blob, this gets a little messy here trying to get rid of that. So I don't have much to pull against. Alright. And we are kind of on the clock here. We can't screw around for too long. Follow some reflections. Well, it's going to be a little less than ideal, but it's a handmade marble, you know. Outside's going to have a bit of wiggle to it. Anywho, that's the way it is. That's the way today's marble turned out. So I hope you guys all have an awesome rest of your day, or whatever you're up to, wherever you're at. We're going to have a good time this afternoon, because it's a gorgeous day in western Montana. Why not? Okay, get this guy in the kiln. Excited to see what that looks like tomorrow. You guys already get to see what it looks like, but I don't. So you guys take care of yourselves, take care of those around you, be kind. That's let's make it a good world. Take care, and I see you next time.